Here we are, another episode. I love talking to her. She has been phenomenal. We've had a deep conversation about things that I didn't even think we didn't even plan on talking
Yeah.
about. Ladies and gentlemen, Kalie Shorr is back for week 2, second part of the episode. Kalie, I just love talking to you because I love your
Thank you.
realness. I love your realness, and I love the fact that we talked about self awareness. You have that, and not many people have that. It's very I hate to say, but it's very unique for that to happen
Isn't that sad?
nowadays.
Ugh. I mean, it scares me to again, like I said, lying to people kind of forces them to live in a false reality, but like lying to yourself does the same thing. So how can you make any informed decision if you're just like off in your own parallel universe that only you exist in? That's just terrifying. And also I think mental health is a component in that as well. And I have bipolar disorder. And that's the scariest thing about it for me is like sometimes when I am going through an episode, I'm not incredibly aware of what's going on until I reflect on it. And that is easily the worst part of it. The part that upsets me the most is temporarily losing that sort of self-awareness. But also people can kind of weaponize your mental health against you and be like, well, you didn't know what you were doing, you were depressed. I'm like, well. But that's why having other people around you to hold you accountable and be like, hey, buddy, you're going a little off the rails right now is really important.
It's
Yeah,
really
and that's
important.
why being transparent with everybody in my life about having bipolar is really important too. Whether, because I used to hate to tell people, but now I'm just like, whatever, like it's a reality. And, people will typically show you more grace if they know that that's going on. But also like, they'll be like, hey, you're ramping up a little bit. And I'm like, oh, damn, you're right. I should probably.
How is you because my best friend has bipolar, and it's very hard to control the episodes, like, because it comes sporadically,
Yeah.
kind of ordeal. Um, how are you able to control that and still move through life with the ability to, have so much self awareness, or have so much to understand people are telling you like you're going off
Yeah.
rails?
I think it's just not really taking things personally or getting defensive. It's hard. I think it's probably the hardest thing I deal with on a consistent basis. And for the first time that I was aware of, this past year on tour, I had a depressive episode, and that was really difficult to do everything that was required of me on tour and still be having this crash out. I showed up, but I was like really not firing all cylinders. I don't know cars. That's a car metaphor, right? Firing all.
No, that's a car
Okay, cool.
metaphor,
Did I say right?
but that's still right.
I always joke with people. I'm like, I'm one breakup away from learning how to fix cars because I always get a new hobby, and I'm like, that's gonna be my next one, and then it's over for these bitches. Yeah, so I'm not firing on all cylinders, and they're touring is so grueling, even if you're 100% there, and sleep factors into bipolar disorder so much, and so I feel like I'm still learning how to manage it, but I think that again, just being honest with the people around you is important, and telling my team, I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm having an episode, I'm doing my best, blah 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 blah, and they were like, oh, we didn't even know, and I'm like, well, that's great that I'm pulling it off, but also important because if I do slip up on something, they need to know that that's not necessarily reflective of me or
Right.
what or my values or what I try to do. But it's embarrassing. And I know we need to destigmatize it, but personally, I feel embarrassed when I'm late for something because I was, awake till 7 a.m. producing a cover of a Linkin Park song, which low key did end up being dope, but I was like, okay, I think we might be a little manic right now. Maybe take some melatonin and chill with with the production. But I did get really good at production during my last manic episode, which is way better than me going out and hanging out with my ex-boyfriends and going out to bars and stuff. I was like, let's channel this into something productive, and I got really good at production. So That's also probably part of managing it too, is like trying to channel this energy that I unfortunately have into something productive. And that's why songwriting has always been so important to me, because that's the best way to do that, is like have an episode and like let it fuel creativity instead of, chaos or self-sabotage.
With everything, with the bipolar and trying to channel that, how did you um how did you channel the reinvention of yourself? As as you said previously, you said last week, pretty much you were one person doing country music, and now rock person, you are yourself. You're openly queer. How did you channel that bipolarness into your reinvention?
I think, well, it's a working title, but I think that when I'm working on an album, having a rough title that I'm aiming towards helps me kind of bring everything together. And so right now, the album I'm working towards in my head is called Manic Expressive instead of Manic Depressive. Get it? So, I mean, that's a huge part. But kind of like owning, because regardless of me being bipolar, I'm also unfortunately very type B and really chaotic and just, I mean, I make it work, but I am the stereotypical type B friend. I always have a crazy story. There's always something wrong with my laptop. I mean, crazy things happen to me. My car's been stolen twice. I'm just like, it's just always something. So owning that is important. And like the cover art for my new EP, called My Type, is like my roommate walked in. This is so funny. She walked in on me on my bed producing a track surrounded by just like a million different like things on my bed. Like there was probably like, there was like a pair of high heels and all these cords and like, a bunch of Gushers, empty Gushers wrappers. And I'm just like sitting on my bed, like making this track. And she walks in and she was like, "This should be your album art." And I was like, "You're so right. Like, just take a picture of me." So we staged it and made it like, there's a lot of Easter eggs in the thing, but it's like the whole point being, like, I saw this quote on Tumblr that I loved, and it was like, your brain is a bedroom. And so it's kind of like what my brain looks like if it's all laid out on my bed and I'm like holding my guitar in the middle of all of it. So I think just trying to find artistic ways to show that, whether it's visually or just songwriting wise, um, and just like being more empowered to share songs that are a valid emotion but might be somewhat more fleeting. Because like I don't stay angry forever whether I'm having an episode or not. That's something everybody relates to. But the song is still valid if I felt like that at any given point. And Miley Cyrus said something similar in an interview that really stuck with me about that, being like, you don't have to feel the way that the song says you do forever. The point is to kind of get the emotion out. Like Unkiss doesn't I don't care about that guy who cheated on me. It's honestly a blessing. I wouldn't have broken up with him otherwise, and I like did not need to be with that man at all. Um but then also by like owning those emotions that I might not still feel anymore, like the songs become bigger than you, like they're for other people now. So like I don't even consider myself necessarily to be the main character in my songs after a certain point, like other people are. Because I hear a song that really speaks to me, and it becomes like, it feels like my story. And so kind of removing myself from that and being willing to have these mercurial emotions still be represented in my songwriting and on my album, I think is probably part of it too. And like validating things, even if they were a passing emotion, if that makes any sense.
That does make sense. Now that you brought it up, because my next question was about your
Yeah.
new album, your new EP
Yeah.
album. First of all, um, My Type. How did you come with that album? So were you is that like is it like a boyfriend application letting people know, or a lover application? You know what I mean? Like, like, hey, this is my type. Let everybody know, like, this is my type. It's making it easier for a lover for you.
Maybe in the past, I started the song in 2017, and that's the craziest thing about this EP is, open book, I wrote I think 2/3 of it in a 16-day period. So it was just like, yeah. Just once I find like that vision, I can just hone in on it. And so I think it's really exciting to create differently every time. And part of this was, me going back now that I really was able to be out and have a new team who had fresh eyes on things. There were songs that my other team in the past didn't like, but I still held on to. So this is the only project I've had that's really like gone that far back into the archives to like take things and repurpose them. Hut and Kiss has been rewritten like 3 or 4 times. And I started that one in 2018. But it's still like, I'm going back into those old emotions. And I think that that's really exciting, um, to be able to revisit those. But I think that by me fully being myself, I'm able to share these songs from a new angle. But that being said, because I started my type in 2017, it's sort of a description of my ideal, like that's my kryptonite. Like a person like that comes along and I got to talk myself out of it. But I think I've gotten a little bit better at discerning and recognizing red flags with people, but it's still in there, the person who would like lose their mind over a guy in a leather jacket or a girl with a, you know, thigh tattoos, like just, you know, the quintessential type. And I've tried to challenge myself to kind of date outside of my type. And, honestly, it hasn't really worked out any better for me. I think I'm just going to take an extended break. And it's hard to feel like I'm like, how am I going to promote these songs and like talk as openly as I need to about it while being in a relationship? Because I've tried to do that before and it's been awkward and it's been a point of contention in my relationship in the past. Like me talking about my exes, but I'm like, but people want to know, and that's what the songs are about. And like, it doesn't really, I'm talking about a moment in time. So it feels also very freeing to be not in a relationship during this release cycle, because I'm able to just talk about it more openly and make it more relatable for people by sharing the actual details.
It's kind of crazy because I'm listening to your answers, listening to your responses on things, and I asked you earlier, um, what would you say to the young
Hmm.
Kalie? And you said I kind of go back and listen to her as opposed to going and telling her something. And it sounds like to me this album is living proof of
Yeah,
it.
definitely. Yeah, that's so true. Like I'm like kind of like passing her the mic for a second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because there were parts of my story that I didn't get to tell because I was, closeted
Mhm.
or something was too edgy or whatever. So it's like I'm kind of honoring the person I've been at all these different moments by like letting it come together and be part of a bigger story. And yeah, that's a good point. That's a good one, Mark. I like that. So profound.
Yeah, it's really like you're going back and you're listening. You're going back and listening to yourself, and you're now you're just like, hey guys, this is what I've been trying to say for the last X amount of
Yeah.
years. Here it is, take it or
Yeah.
leave it, kind of thing.
It's so true.
Um, I'm noticing that your confidence has gone up
Yeah,
completely.
definitely.
Um, I'm noticing that, and then have you? Are there days during? Were there days during recording this album where you're like, was there any doubt during this EP where you're just like, maybe I should put this out, maybe I should put this out? Like, were you going back and forth with? Is there a certain song that you were going back and forth with on this EP?
I really, because I kind of picked these songs like over a year ago. So I feel like I felt
Right.
pretty confident about them. And I really, like, I try to just not write songs that I don't like and I won't stand behind, because the worst thing that can happen is you write a hit song that you don't like, but everyone on your team knows it's a hit. So they want you to release it. And then you have to not stand behind it. Like, I don't actually have any songs that I've put out that I don't still like, I won't at least still stand behind. And that's why I'm so proud that Fight Like a Girl. I mean, I definitely hope I have a bigger song, but that's still my biggest one. Um, and I'm proud of it because I'm like, okay, that's still something I still very much believe in. And that's a blessing. I do have a song called Two Hands that I wrote about my ex, which ended up going up in flames. I don't love playing that one, and that's one of my bigger ones. But another artist ended up cutting it, so I was like, perfect, that's hers now. I don't have to sing it anymore. So that's definitely like a good thing to keep in mind. But I think, yeah, like these feel very much so like honoring different points of my life, and I'll always feel connected to them because I remember what it felt like to experience that.
Unkissed is out
Uh-huh.
right now. I love
Thank
the
you.
song.
Thank you.
I love the song. And you said earlier that it's you're over the fact that the guy
Yeah.
cheated on you. Like you shouldn't love him
Mhm.
at all. What was the moment in that relationship that you realized, oh shit, I should probably get out?
Well, I literally started Unkiss like the morning after I kicked him out of our apartment. So that was like captured a really raw moment. And then I was able to kind of, it started as a really sad song. And then it got kind of angrier over time. And then it got more empowered, which feels like the healing process, like kind of the stages of grieving. Like that song has experienced all of those. Um, and so it came around to a way more empowered part, like, the line that's like, you think I'm reductive. I think you're reductive. You think I'm a bitch. Don't forget whose fault this is. And that was something I couldn't have confidently said the morning after I kicked him out. I was just like, the original song was very like, I don't want to tell my mom about this. I'm so sad. Like, I'm not answering my phone. And I like the first version of the song, but it's way better now because it has that kind of perspective. Um, but yeah, I think the song kind of grew with my opinion on what happened and the moment. So it's like a series of a lot of different moments. But I mean, what really happened with that relationship was he cheated on me. He didn't like sleep with her, which is why I didn't say like unfuck. Um,
Right.
oh, and I've
Right.
also, if I'm gonna flame somebody in a song, I know that being honest is so important because you can exaggerate in your art sometimes, but not when it comes to like putting someone on blast. It's just rude, no matter
Right.
what that person did
Right.
to me. My song Amy is a great example. And also, I don't think I get enough credit for the things I leave out of song, out of respect. So people are always like, your songs are mean. I'm like, I don't even
You
know.
know, does anyone know? Does anyone know?
So true. But yeah, so I mean, like, I feel like, so he cheated, and then I was like, okay, we can work this out. I went to therapy and, got some really great advice from my therapist, took it back to him and was like, okay, I think we need like a week apart. I'm going to stay at my friend's house. Let's just like cool down and really take a minute because we've been together for 6 years. I was like, I don't want to just blow this up for no reason. And I really want to be deliberate about this. And I was thinking I was going to get back with him. We had a couples therapy appointment scheduled for the following Monday. And that Sunday night, my best friend at the time, which was a weird flex on her part, had a birthday party and invited him and me. And I couldn't not go because she'd be upset. But I also was like, why are you having my ex here when it's clearly a traumatic time? I chose to not drink anything because I was like, that's the last thing that needs to be introduced into this already precarious situation. I was like, this is about her. He got really drunk and pulled me into one of the bedrooms and was like, we need to talk about this. I was like, no, the fuck, we do not. We need to go to therapy tomorrow and talk to this in a supervised, calm environment when you have not had 6 old fashions. So we have to go back to our apartment after because I needed to pick up some more things from the house. And we went over with 3 of our friends. So I was like, okay, this nothing can happen because we're with our friends and I'm just going to be in and out, grab my skincare, leave. I go in the bathroom to grab my stuff. He follows me in there again and starts screaming at me and is like, are you going to break up with me? Are you going to break up with me? And I am not a raise my voice kind of person. And he's got a big old booming voice. So it was really triggering. And I was just like frozen. And I was like, oh, I wasn't planning on it. But then I'm not reacting and I'm quiet. And then he ends up like grabbing me by the shoulders and like slamming me up against the bathtub because I was sitting on the floor. And I was like, okay, yeah, I am actually breaking up with you. And I broke up with him immediately. And I always told myself I would do that. And I don't blame victims when they stay because it's so much more complex than that. But I was thankful that I did. do that, because I knew as soon as that line is crossed, it's gonna happen again. And it starts out with that, and then it escalates, and like God knows, because so I was like, okay, I gotta go. So I really wasn't even planning on breaking up with him, but I felt like it was the universe being like, okay, he cheated on you, you gotta go. This isn't the right relationship. And I was like, but I think. And then it was like, okay, that wasn't enough for you. Okay, well, this is gonna happen because you gotta get out. And I did. And I mean, I immediately knew it was over. And it took a long time to process it. But I mean, it was such a clear moment of like clarity, and just like everything just switched. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're absolutely done here, I guess. So it was definitely a very black and white moment that happened. And that's what I wrote the song about.
And you got a badass song out of it.
Several.
You got a badass. Yeah. One last question here. Now that you have, you know, now that you have come into your own, as they say, what does success look like to you?
I mean, not working at a strip club, for sure. I mean, I think that just like having had a period of time where I wasn't releasing music, I wasn't playing shows. I never stopped writing because I physically can't. Um, but just getting to do it every day and have people care about what I'm saying, and watch people be impacted by it. That was during my, unwilling hiatus. I still was posting a lot of content online and talking, and it just feels good to have people value what you say, period, whether it's in a song or in a story. Um, so I
Right.
think just getting to do that on a larger scale, and having it's so difficult to have a side hustle and focus on music. And I do still kind of have a side hustle. I consult for social media with a couple companies and artists, but I'm working towards being able to do music full time again, which is great. But I still kind of do because I'm still in the social media space. So that's like a huge blessing, because music is a more than full time job, and so many people do it with a full time job. So you're working just like an insane amount of hours. And I think just having a team of people who believe in me enough that they're spending all their time working on my project and my art and getting it out there. I mean, I feel like that's really success, is just other people, like, and how it affects them, and like what they're willing to do because they believe in you. I would like to be able to afford to replace my car that got stolen, though. That would also be a nice benchmark of success. Yeah. That too.
Well, let's manifest that. You will be able to buy your
I
new
will.
car. We're gonna manifest. Oh man, well, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for taking time out of your
Thank you.
day to chat with me. You guys go check out Kalie Shorr's new EP, which is out now. My Type, featuring the song "Unkissed." Go listen to it. It is badass. I promise you, you won't
Thank
forget.
you.